Hello everyone, my name is Steven Zapata. I'm a concept artist, illustrator, online art teacher, and former instructor at Art Center College of Design. I would like to introduce you to my new drawing course, Form from Imagination, a course designed to help you draw with confidence from your mind. Maybe you want to be a professional illustrator or designer, maybe you want to be a master with a pencil, or maybe you just want to be the best artist that you can be. Beautiful goals. But it's not always clear how to improve the work that you do from imagination. Over the past 6 months, I've taken all of the little eurekas, tips, and essential exercises that gave me confidence drawing from my mind and compiled them into a sequential course. We start with the absolute foundations, covering the scientific nature of light and shadow, how to hatch, how to create flat tones, how to render spheres and cubes, and step by step, we move through combined shapes, complex shapes, organic shapes. We cover how to simplify extremely complex subjects like the head into basic shapes so that you can handle them more easily from your head. We look at how to understand and treat details. And by the end of these 14 chapters with over 50 video lessons, you'll be ready to do complex designs from your mind with fidelity and energy. And all the demos are done in pencil on paper, so you can do all of the assignments even if you don't have a fancy digital art setup. But I also have demos, instructions, and modifications to the assignments for those who do want to do them digitally. Here's how it works. Go to formfromimagination.com and sign up for the course. Download the assignment book and start watching the lectures. Do the assignments at your own pace. Take your time with them and use this self-study to develop your patience. When you're done, post your assignments in the exclusive community hub, and I'll personally critique your work with drawovers, diagrams, and advice. I want you to know, this course is no joke just because it's online. It is challenging content, and it is more complete than it would be if I was teaching this class at an art college as I have before. If I was teaching this class in person at Art Center today, I would just play these videos in class, knowing full well that they're the most concise, focused, edited, step-by-step way to convey the material. So I'm serious when I say, this course isn't just a substitute for a college-level course, it's better than a college-level course. And you don't have to pay thousands of dollars per credit and wind up hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. So thank you for checking out the course, thank you for watching this and for your support, and thank you for drawing and making your artwork. The world needs it. I'll see you soon. Hello. Hello. Testing my audio. Testing my audio. Am I loud enough there, people? Do let me know. Wow. What's up, everybody? Hello to Francis, Warrington, Feasel Feet, Wes, Arctic Monkey, Mizubi, Art, Johnny Pearson, Matej Koyar, Jerry Lecor, Art, Arctic Monkey, didn't I say Arctic Monkey? Don't forget Zane, Joel Berg. And I think I got everybody. What's up, folks? What is up? Francis, hello, Francis. Hello, Chris McDaniels, Anirudh, Bonsall, Stupidity PNG, Sarah. Hello, everybody. And Dino Blaster, oh yeah. All right, we're drawing. You know what it is. It's drawing time. Much in the fabled mode of Morbin time, it is now drawing time. What we're gonna draw, I don't know, doing some Photoshop sketches. I haven't drawn yet today, so I'm going to doodle a bit and then we will see if I go do some design work. I have some boats I gotta work on, and I can also keep rendering that guy that we were doing in the other stream, but let's start with a little sketching. Steven, you look just like an Italian YouTuber called Frappolo94. Oh, Frappolo. Frappolo 94. That was not Italian. No, Novecenti. Icotore. What are some good creature art books or novels? Creature art. Tara Whitlatch has 2 books about the science and design of animals. I haven't given them deep study, but I do have them. Some are my bookshelves, and they're beautiful books. Not so much for creatures, but just for animals, which is, of course, a lot of it applies. A book called, well, the author's name is Joe Weatherly, like the weather, Weatherly. The Joe Weatherly Guide to Drawing Animals is a very good, not just a good animal drawing book, it's a good draftsmanship book. He actually focuses a surprising amount in that book on draftsmanship tips. So he teaches you like how to hunt for variety, how to not repeat shapes, things like that. Very good book. Arctic Monkey says, I'm feeling meow meow. Are you feeling meow meow? This is getting, guys, come on, stop. I mean, does it have to get so sensually charged right off the bat? I don't usually stream this late, and I just ate a bunch of food, so my guts are telling me go to bed. I like just ate dinner. So screw it. Cannons is getting money tonight. Go on, take it. You work hard. You deserve my streaming pennies. Let's do some... I always want to do sprints on stream, but I get too distracted by chat, so it never works out. So no, I'm not going to try to actively do sprints. By sprints, I mean like I'm gonna do 6 5-minute sketches in the next hour. Every time I try to do that, I just completely lose track of the time because I'm looking at chat. Is it obnoxious to mention stuff you are hyped about? Depends on the stuff. If you mean like movies, TV, video games, I don't think anyone in this environment finds that obnoxious. My friends got me a new guitar, and me taking a break from art is gonna give me a lot of time to practice. Also, just got my first prescription for HRT. Congrats on the guitar. Congrats on having time to practice. I do not know what HRT is, but congrats on that too. What is a good resource for learning shape design? The thing is, shape design is very particular to the subject matter that you're doing. So it's like, there's not like just great shape design in the abstract. There's some basic things like look for variety of shape, small, medium, and large shape. But that really only goes so far. A lot of shape design gets tied up with the subject matter. So you kind of need to look for like what works for the content, right? Like shape design for cars has different considerations than shape design for vases or something like that. Let me think. I don't know, Cynics has a really popular shape design video that has helped a lot of people. You might want to start there. And then after that, go look for, go learn about, it's like, it's not super useful to think about shape design in abstract. It's like really, really good shape design is about understanding why are cars shaped the way they are? Why are houses shaped the way they are? What produces the shapes on something like a vase? What makes the shapes of vases from one historical period different from another historical period? So really good shape design is less about an abstract fundamental of shape design and more about an acuity of vision for recognizing the way that shapes interact with each other. Oh, HRT is hormone replacement therapy. Got it. Many congrats. It's slightly triangular, a bit like those Mayan drawings of people, says Mizubi. Oh no, you're talking about your art teacher. I kind of want to draw him, but like, is that weird to like draw my art teacher? I have to say that most people, if they know you, to be surprised with a drawing of themselves. With some people, it lands a little odd. So, but he's also an artist. So I think he probably would be inclined to find it less odd, but you can always check. You can always just ask him like, hey, can I do a portrait of you? That's probably the way to go. Coming back like a hurricane. Kuro Hagane says, I got a new sketchbook that I'm trying to fill with non-judgmental doodles and observe with what my subconscious channels through my hands into the pages. Wish me luck. Oh, that's it, baby. That is it. I'm wishing you great luck. I assure you, there are many great insights there. You will learn much. What music playlist are you currently listening to? This is Cannon's playlist on Spotify. Cannon's is Cannons. Quinn Von Gorp says, hi, love from the Netherlands. Love from New York. I see Mizubi asking a lot about getting burned out. Bored? Can you be disciplined without being gritty or like aggressive? Yes. You definitely do not need to be aggressive. And I know that aggression. Used to be pretty aggressive. Steven, you're live again? You're goddamn right. I'm chilling, I'm drawn. Do you like the Doors? I haven't listened to them much, except for like, what's their biggest hit? I forget it now. Osborne says, is it too late to learn to draw if I'm 13? Yes. Sadly, yes. Yet another dream crushed. Harsh reality comes bearing down on the old artist. Decrepit 13-year-old fingers can barely hold a pencil anymore. It's far too late, far too late. Hang up your crayons, hang up your pastels, hang up your Disney brand watercolor pans. And put away the dream. It's time to get serious. Maybe if you start crunching numbers now, you can be an investment banker by the time that you're 65, but you'd better get going quick. God help you, God speed you, old man. May the youthful take pity on your soul. Stephen, what is the quote of the day? Limestone scarabs rucked in the floor of this once inland sea. That's a good one. It's from the opening of Sutri by Cormac McCarthy. There's a ton of great lines in that opening, though. Every time I open stream by saying, "Dear friends," that's a reference to the opening of Sutri. A soft, subtle reference. Dear friends, now in the dusty, clockless hours of the town, where the cats walk high-shouldered and lean. Oh, but my favorite line from that opening is, gray vines coiled leftward in that northern hemisphere. What winds them shapes the dog whelk shell. Fuck. Fuck. Thank you, Jim Wool. Is it too late to learn to draw if I'm 89? Yes. Yes. Obviously. If 13 is too late, then obviously 89 is too late. The only right age, the only ideal age to begin drawing is obviously the one at which I began drawing, which is a trade secret, and I will not reveal here. Rodrigo Nicolas says, have you read Blood Meridian? Yes, I have. What do you think of the 3 Body Problem series? I like them a lot. I have not watched the TV show, but the books are great. The books are great. Azaki Shimo says, Steven, I have a question. Go on. Go on, hit me with it. Steven, how to get more comfortable drawing at home? I can only find myself drawing my best at school when not wanting to do work. At home, I play games all day. That is a classic problem that it doesn't just stop with, hold on, sorry, my mic's in a bad position. Give me a second to focus on getting it in a way that I like. Okay, that is a problem that continues outside of school. Lots of people who are out of school and have day jobs, full careers, they spend a lot of time at work, just they can barely contain themselves. They just want to get home and do their art. And then when they get home, they find that they're too tired from work and that they can't do the art. It is an escape mechanism at that point. It is a bit of escapism. You need to grapple with the fact that it is becoming that, and you have to break the habit. You can't let it just become an escape mechanism, because thinking about art, fantasizing about art, and fantasizing about your creative ideas is already kind of gratifying. Does that make sense? It's like, it's already fun on its own. It's already expansive on its own, and it already gives you the reward of pulling you out of the thing you don't quite want to be doing. So you can just get stuck repeating that and never actually doing the work, because the work is also gratifying, but it's gratifying in a different way, and things go wrong with the work, right? Nothing ever goes wrong in your fantasies. When you actually do the work, things go wrong all the time. There's friction and things like that. So you need to just barrel through that. You need to get in there and do the real thing, or else it's never gonna get done. How to get ideas to draw. It's different for different people. Like if you're really into doing fan art or something like that, just, watch the things that excite you and all that. I need to read. I get most of my ideas from reading. It just depends what your interests are. Like most of the stuff that drives me to the drawing board is like things I've read in books or research that I've done into weird, real stuff in the world, like philosophy and religions and things like that. That's usually what makes me want to make a piece of art. But that's not going to work for everybody. It's about what gets you going. I also don't need much of an idea to get to work. I mean, like this, I didn't plan this before I started drawing on stream. You can also just not know what you're going to make and just see what happens. People need to get used to that. They need to, if that's not already in line with your temperament, people need to sort of get used to the uncertainty there. But once you get used to it, it's fun. It's fun to just discover what's going to come out. For some reason, I thought it was a forest fire. Well, the reason is that the shapes were not defined, and for all I knew when I was starting this, it could have been a forest fire. I didn't really have anything in particular in mind. A drawing is a lot of things in that first half hour. What philosophy books do you like? Oh God, a lot, but I don't know, I just consume, not just philosophy, a lot of like I consider religion as well, theology and things like that. I consider that to be philosophy. You know, if you don't believe, if you're not subscribed to the religion, then it really does come down to sort of philosophical discussion just with some crazier stuff in there. So with that thrown in there, just like, man, a lot. I wouldn't know where to begin. I also watch a lot of content about that. YouTube podcasts about that. And there's a lot of there's a lot of books that aren't philosophy books that I consider philosophy books. Just because I read it recently, like Cormac McCarthy's The Passenger and Stella Maris. Those are just novels, but I was on a philosophical trip reading those books. I would consider them philosophy books. I mean, I read them as philosophical treatises. What do you think of Wes Anderson's films? I think they're great, but currently, me and my wife and I are on the same kick with that, where we're like, need a break. They when you've seen like 9, you kind of get like, I think I get it. You know, I think I get it. Hello, Cyan Knight. Have you ever drawn a rock? Once or twice. Quinn Van Gorp says, I mean, like, get ideas to draw for portfolio. Same thing, reading. I think well, it depends what kind of portfolio, but like if you want to do an illustration portfolio, one of the best ways to do it is just pick one book that you know very well and try to illustrate it. Do 10 pieces for it or something like that. Cyan Knight says, heard the advice today to treat all art as practice, to be more positive when making mistakes and help relax when making studies. Have you familiar with this mindset as well? I feel like my whole YouTube is an advertisement for that mindset. So I just agree with that completely. Zangatai. Says, hello, Steven, I'm supposed to sleep, but instead I'm watching you draw. My girlfriend is now mad at me. Zangatai's girlfriend, please. Don't be mad at Zangatai, okay? It's not Zangatai's fault. anyone coming across incredible, world-class, undisputed masterworks like what I do on this stream, if they have any interest in art, it's honestly irresponsible for them to not watch. It's like, this is the one true path to good taste, to artistic mastery. It comes and goes in a fleeting blink. How can you blame Zenke Kitai for watching a stream like this when it comes up? You can't. You can't. You can't. Which theology books? I'm kind of curious. Oh, what am I even on lately? Yeah, I'm using theology very broadly. Like, for example, I just started reading a bunch of Gnostic texts. Like, I just recently read the Apocryphon of John, and a few commentaries on it and things like that. And that, well, you know, a lot of people say that's not theology. You know, it's not theology unless it's the Christian canon. It's like, well, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But very interesting read. You know, I'm also into a bunch of Buddhist stuff, you know. Read a lot of Nagarjuna lately. Huineng, the 6th Zen patriarch, like I consider all of that theology. I don't know, I'd have to stop and think, because it's just like, I'm kind of constantly always eating that stuff. Quinn says, by the way, I recently got accepted into my dream art school. Nice, Quinn, congratulations. Zengatitite. Reynola Dominguez says, I used to illustrate all of my book reports in grade school. My teachers loved it. My classmates, not so much. I bet not. That is awesome, though. Look, your classmates are gonna have to get over it, you ruining the curve like that. Did I mention my course is on sale? I'm sure you guys couldn't have missed it, though sometimes people do. The info is right underneath my head. Then I could do into a tunnel of you. How is Ahmed? I miss him. He's good. Last I talked to him, he was good. He's always on adventures. He's out and about. Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above, but don't fence me in. That's Ahmed right now. Giant monsters shouldn't have ears. Everybody knows that. Could you show us how you sign your work? And when do you think are you going to give us a full sketchbook tour? I don't know. I fill sketchbooks very often. I don't know, I could really do it anytime. I really use my sketchbooks as working places though. They're not super impressive on their own. And this is my signature, which is on all my pencil drawings. All my finished pencil drawings have my signature. You ready? Don't blink, all right? Damn. This is the Fire Giant's brother, Star Giant. Yeah. Steven, how should I ask out my crush? With a delicate touch. With tender words. Sweet, sweet attention. I don't know, some people aren't into that though. I don't know anything about your crush, that's the problem. Your crush might be the type who needs a little assertiveness, you know? Like, what is this? What are we doing here? We gonna stop fucking around or what? Your crush might be that type. As is usual, a bespoke solution is called for. I'm getting that tattooed. Please do. This here is a Steven Zapata joint. Mizubi is going to sleep. Goodbye, Mizubi. Thanks for book tips. Been craving that actually. I used to read like a fanatic. Nice, nice. Georgina Singh says, hi, it's me, Ethan. But your handle says Georgina. I have a question. Do you need to learn concept art to draw from imagination, or can you exclude it? No, you don't need to. No, concept art these days is a very it means a very specific thing, and it's very it's very flavored by the current nature of video games and movies and things like that. Concept art is sort of a contingent cultural thing, but drawing from imagination is transcends that. It's just a base function of drawing and human creativity. You do not need to do one to do the other. What's this big fella's name? Skernsenfernt. His name is Skernsenfernt. My God, help us, it's Skernsenfernt. Steven, your ears look mighty big today. They're big every day. I got big old bat ears. Someone actually told me that once. One of my sister's friends. She was visiting us in California back when I lived with my sister. And we were just sitting eating lunch together. And it just went totally quiet. And she goes, wow, Steven, you have such big ears, like a bat. And I was like, cool. Did you tell her it's to hear you better, my child, and learn her? I should have. I should have hidden her with the ghoulish, all the better to hear you with, my pretty. Woe is me, large though they are, I can barely hear you. Why don't you come a little closer? but you never arrive late. Never have plans for a normal life. It's crime. Too busy earning. Can't get enough. Spit some freestyle bars, Steven. I will spare you that. Too busy earning, I can't get enough. Oh god, texture brushes are fucking useless. Is painting grayscale to color better when you're trying to go for a dark fantasy style? No, I don't think it's better. Painting grayscale just, it's fast. It lets you just focus on the overall idea, but it limits you from linking the overall idea to color. So it's not appropriate for everything. And there's a lot of people for whom the disconnect between grayscale and the way that they sort of see finished paintings and the world is just, it's never gonna be satisfactory. It's never gonna be okay. So for those people, working in grayscale is just gonna frustrate them and distract them, and they should really just be working with color from the beginning. Steven, when is the next stream highlights video? Wednesday, it should be. Ethan says, I have a question. The bigger you try to draw, the more difficult it is to draw. Am I right or wrong? Well, it's mechanically more difficult to draw, Ethan, for a lot of people. That's almost undeniable. But once you get used to it, once you get used to working really big and drawing with your whole arm, it really becomes quite a pleasure. But yeah, it is hard for most people to get used to it. But the thing is, it's mechanically more difficult, but it actually makes certain things easier. So for example, really detailed, realistic looking work, most of that stuff that you see is really big. So like hyper realistic oil paintings and things like that are much bigger than you would expect them to be if you're only used to seeing them like on your phone or your computer screen. You know, a lot of academic oil paintings from like the French academies, which we consider high realism and all that. Those are like 8 feet across, a lot of them as a standard. You know, a heroic like painting of Napoleon, you know, by Delacroix or something like that is going to be 30 feet wide, something like that. They can get humongous. So the reason that that is the case, there's many reasons, especially in the historical period. A lot of it was about immersion because it would take up your whole visual field. But even today, people who are less concerned with immersion, people who sell like hyper-realistic oil paintings in galleries and things like that, working really large makes realistic detail easier to achieve, especially clean transitions, smooth gradients. It's when you work really big and then you reduce it down in photography and it gets sent out in catalogs, on social media and things like that, all of the little inconsistencies tend to get evened out and it makes it easier to get a cohesive, refined feel. So you'll notice that a lot of really hyper-realistic work is done very large rather than very small. So it actually benefits you to work big if that's one of your main goals. It makes certain things easier rather than harder. Is it wise to start with grayscale, then use another layer to then transform into color, like tracing your own work? Again, it depends on the person. That process is actually super frustrating for a lot of people. Now, it's not easy to work straight to color either, but a lot of people might find that depending on the effects that they're going for, it would just better behoove them to just begin with color. If you are trying to work on a painting where in your head, like the main idea, the main point is the color statement, you probably should start with color really, really early. At the very least, you should do color thumbnails, color comps, rough color sketches, even before you do like a detailed layout drawing, because color effects are intimately tied with value effects. You know, every color has a particular chroma point. Like, let's say I knew that the head of this guy, I really wanted it to be red, pure red as I could get for whatever reason. It's a story reason or just I want it to be perfectly red. This is the reddest red I can get. If I make that black and white, look at that. It's a 50% gray. So if I want the main idea of the picture to be his red head, for the value plan to be effective, I need to know that red is going to be 50% gray on the value scale. If I don't understand that and I paint his head to be, let's say I redesigned the whole value structure of this painting to be, all right, well, I know that's gonna be where I want it to be the focal point, so it's gonna be really, really bright. And then I just put like a big black background behind it because it's like, all right, now it's really popping out, now it's really popping out. When I add the red, when I add the color, I'm forced to make his head pink because I can't quite get to saturated red without dipping away from white and becoming 50% gray instead. So value and color are intimately linked. So if you're focusing on a color statement, it's better to get to color early. If you're like me and color is rarely your focus and you're more interested in making form statements, action statements, storytelling statements, things like that, different considerations, very different considerations. Does the longer you work on a piece, the better it will be? For the most part, yeah. I mean, early on in your journey, you can be confused enough about things that you can make pictures worse as you work on them. But once you're out of that beginner stage, yeah. A piece will generally just keep getting better as you spend more time in it. That doesn't mean it's always a direct shot, right? You may make a change that you invest 10 hours in, and then you realize, you know what, that wasn't the way to go, and you have to course correct, but in the long term, in the aggregate, yeah. Goodbye, Quinn. What's your take on Lightbox? Also, will you be there? I was at last year and I had a lot of fun. I think conventions and stuff like that are very good ideas for artists, especially if you're trying to get going on a career and stuff like that. They make it much easier to network. Because artists tend to be a little, you know, antisocial to begin with. So it's good to get them in a place where sort of everybody there is specifically there to network, like they expect to network. It makes it much easier to connect and make friends. Hello, Chady. Chris says, no conventions here, Steven. I'm in the sticks. You might need to get out. You might need to come on over. Not move, I mean, but get out to a con. It's like people often wonder, you know, when they're in a period where they're trying to network and make our friends, they often wonder, like, why it's so hard to make them on Discords and things like that. It's like, a lot of those people just might not be there to make friends. They're there to, you know, show off their work. Let's just be honest. A lot of people just show up places to show off, and that has varying degrees of success and things like that. And there's a big difference between that environment and especially since it's mixed, right? It's like some people will be there to show off. Some people will be there to make friends, and you can't quite tell. That's a very different environment than just a con where it's like, there's very few people at a con like Lightbox who
are thinking they're gonna go the whole show without talking to anybody. It's like almost nobody is going in with that mindset. It's a great opportunity because all these artists who maybe the whole rest of the year, they are actively trying to avoid people. If they're at this con, they have at least that morning in the hotel room hyped themselves up, looked at themselves in the mirror and been like, some people might try to talk to you today, and that's okay. Like everyone has done the work beforehand to get in the right headspace. And that just makes it way easier to make buddies and make connections. Do I want a mouth? This is the boss battle I wanted in Nokron City instead of those twin gargoyles that took me 50 tries to beat. Those guys suck. I think no mouth. Adam Pollard, hello. The music doesn't match the vibe of the illustration? No, I don't do that. The way a lot of artists like insist on they have to draw to something that feels exactly like the piece. I don't have that at all. If I'm listening to music, it's like I'm drawing demons and listening to Ariana Grande, which for some people maybe they think that makes sense, but. I don't have that strong art to music connection that so many artists seem to have. It's like I'll be drawing something super like mystical and like with really deep emotional resonances for me, and I'll be listening to like, oh, you had to be a big shot, didn't you? Had to open up your mouth. Well, you had to have the white hot spotlight. You had to be a big shot last night. Oh, 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 oh. Now, what would the demiurge look like? What would Yal DeBoth look like? I really have to listen to the music that matches the illustration so I can imagine a whole scene. Yeah, I don't have that. How many years before the world is ready for the singing course? When the mountains flap like leaves in the wind. Hey Steven, question here. What dimension do you usually set up your canvas? I've been struggling to get the right one for my brushes to feel like they should. That is the unfortunate thing. It really is individual to your computer, your setup, your brushes. It just requires a lot of experimentation. The right canvas size for any given thing, well, if there's print considerations, then the canvas size is linked to the print considerations, right? But aside from that, it's like, what is the biggest you can work where your brushes work quick enough, where they don't feel laggy? And that's the size that you do. But that's gonna be different on my computer, that's gonna be different on your computer. I tend to sketch in sketches like this, where it's important that I be able to like do really fast, big strokes like that. I tend to work somewhere less than 3,000 pixels on the longest side. What's this one right now? This is 3,000 pixels basically on the longest side. So that lets me do, I can cover the whole canvas and there's no lag on my hard round. If I'm using a fancier brush, which I rarely do because they all suck, they're all garbage. If I use a big chalk brush, no, that still doesn't lag, maybe a little bit. But then when it's time to like detail, I usually will up-res, and once everything's locked in, you'll tend to use smaller brushes because you're making smaller changes. So that sort of balances out the increase in pixel size. And if I'm trying to really push something to finish, it's gonna be around 8,000 pixels wide. The rule of thumb that a lot of people do is at least twice the deliverable so that you can cut it in half when you ship it. So if the final deliverable is supposed to be 1920 by 1080, full HD resolution, you might want to work 3840 by 2160, which is 4K. If the final deliverable is 4K, we're talking TV footage here, or web content, video content. If the final deliverable is 4K, 3840 by 2160, you might want to work 8K, which I don't know the dimensions for 8K, 7,000 something. So that when you're done, you cut it in half, you get the nice little unifying compression and the detail softeningness of having cut the pixel dimensions in half. That's the problem with all the digital stuff. Everybody's working with different gear. And people don't generally talk about how the differences in the gear does change a lot. Like the classic brushes problem, like what are your brushes? I want to get the exact same results from the brushes as you. This is going to suck for a lot of people to hear, for beginners to hear who are in that phase, they're like really concerned about brushes and stuff, but you can't get the same result out of a digital brush as another person unless you are in the exact same version of the drawing program they're in. So if they're using a Photoshop brush, it's not gonna do the same thing in Clip, Procreate, anything else, no matter what anybody says. And even from different versions to versions of Photoshop, the brush will react slightly differently. It'll have different standard things clicked or different parameters in the brush settings. And even if you have the exact same version, exact same brush, you have to have the same tablet as them, because all of the different tablet makers compute tilt and rotation completely differently. And if there's a brush that you're lusting after, it probably has some sort of, has some fancy rotation or tilt thing going on with it. So even if they give you their brush, it's like you can't actually get the same result as them unless you have the same setup, same tablet, same software. And then, yeah, you might not have a fast enough computer to comfortably use that brush, even if it gets the exact same results. So in a sense, it's easier with traditional. It's like everything is one-to-one in traditional. It's like if you buy golden acrylic matte medium, it's gonna work the same for you as it does for somebody in Washington. It's like it's the same. If it goes down on the same substrate that somebody else is using, it's gonna work the same way as that substrate. It's like, in a sense, it is actually easier with traditional to match people's techniques. Hello, Felipe. Mom's Warm Yogurt says, real talk, when artists take tablet sponsorships, do they throw their piece into their normal setup before presenting the final artwork? I wouldn't know. I've never taken a tablet sponsorship. I do not know. I'll say this, when it comes to art, assume everything is artifice. The root of the word art is artifice. You are being lied to. Felipe says, man, you really inspired the Attack on Titan creator. This is top notch. Indeed. I'm a huge inspiration. Hello, Boxer Wing. Boxer Wing. Lerquion says, hi, do you mind your art being compared to others? I know some artists really don't like that. I used to care a lot more. It used to bother me a lot more many years ago when I was younger. Now I don't really care anymore. Now I'm flattered that people relate to the art at all, even if the nature of that relation is sort of relating it to something that they already know. Steven, have you played any Souls games? Of course. Oh, yes. Played 1, 3, Bloodborne. Bloodborne was my first. Elden Ring. A bit of Sekiro. Steven, are you an animator? Negative. It's still light out. It's like magic hour right now, right before sunset. But the moon is so clear in the blue sky. And it's framed just dead alone in the top frame of my window. The moon out my window. The thief left it behind. Steven, do you think you have sketch a lot in your life? If so, how many of those are good art? Love your work. Thank you, Gabrielle. I do think you have to sketch a lot. You definitely need to sketch a lot. I think most artists do. Some artists really just focus on doing only finished pieces, and that's really not bad either, but I just don't think that's most artists. I think of the two directions, I think that's the less common one. What percentage of that is good work? That's hard to say. I don't know. I would say my guess is that the percentage would have to be pretty low, just by definition. If you're an avid sketcher, I mean, you're seeking something, right? So it's probably less about is it good work and more is it what you were seeking in the sketching session, you know? Did you find what you were looking for? Boxer Wing says, I've been thinking about something that came up last stream, how to draw what you see in your head and the problems with that. I'm noticing that my brain really does a lot of Escher type stuff, which makes it very hard to reproduce, and I end up just working, hold on, let me move my chat. Just working with what comes out on the page. Yeah. I'm definitely a react to what's on the page type, even though I feel like I can imagine things extremely vividly. But I've talked about this sometimes. A lot of people disagree, and I think it's sort of a interesting experimental question. But I think people think their mental images are hyper clear. And I really need to write about this to try to formulate what I'm trying to say like just right, because this is very nuanced. Like, you know when you're dreaming and, for example, there's an apple on a table in the dream and there's no other context, but the dream lets you know that's your grandfather's apple and this is super fucking important, but there's no context. Nothing else happened in the dream. You didn't have your grandfather explain it. The apple wasn't given to you by your sister and she explained it was your grandfather's. You didn't see someone else coveting the apple or something like that. You're just looking at the apple and the full emotional cocktail of it is your grandfather's and it is extremely important. I think the fact that, well, first off, I think dream consciousness is very interesting and teaches us a lot about waking consciousness. But I think that the fact that the brain is capable of giving you a cocktail of emotional impulses that contain data like that, I know people disagree with me. I think when people think they see images in their head hyper clear, I don't think that's true most of the time. I think that it's a phantom image of much lower resolution, and then like a dream is added in the emotional cocktail of clarity. And that emotional cocktail comes with the surge of emotional inspiration and things like that. But I just don't, mechanically speaking, I don't know how it would be possible. And I don't know how it's possible mechanically, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how exactly are you going to trace an image that is in your mind? Mechanically, how would you do that? Or are you not thinking tracing, but like, do you have this fantastical ideal in your head that you could somehow look at the image that's in your mind as if it was a nude model in a life drawing class, and you're gonna kind of draw it as if you were drawing a model in front of you? I just don't think these things upon examination make any sense at all. I don't think they're possible. I don't think they're what anybody does. I think you can trick yourself into thinking that you're doing that, but I think that this all really devalues and ignores the absolute dominance of the fact that drawings are made by the body and not the mind. It's really enslaving everything to this concept of the mind. Photographic memory is a thing. I don't think it is. From what I understand, the most powerful cases of eidetic memory are perfect recall of events, which is not photographic. True photographic memory would mean that you could list everything on every dinner menu you've ever opened in your entire life. That would be true photographic memory, and I don't think anyone has ever proven that they have that. People have perfect recall of events, dates, which are different than photographs. And people have excellent memorization skills, the kind of stuff that you would see in a memorization competition, for example, but that is based on memetics, on mnemonics, on having interesting mental games and mind palaces that you can use to create associations between things. But a photographic memory, as people would like to imagine, or as people sort of intuitively imagine, I don't think that's ever been evidenced, ever. I don't think anyone can prove that they've ever experienced that. Again, a true photographic memory would be perfect recall of dinner menus. That should not be difficult at all for someone with a photographic memory. People have recall of architecture. Yes, but that's not photographic. Architecture has other concepts underlying it that can allow you to restructure in a way that is not photographic. And I really, no one checks these things. People get very impressed by drawings that people, say, I did this drawing from memory of an architectural building or something like that. It gets on the news or something like that, but do they ever put it next to a real photo of the place, the drawings? People are just very impressed by these drawings, but they don't actually check the work. Nobody checks the work. And then if you were to check the work, it's like, what's the level of fidelity that you're willing to accept here, And again, even that is besides the point, because architecture has different kinds of underlying principles that you can sort of recall in terms of memetics. There's stories, there's structures. You can train yourself to recall heights and ratios and things like that, which is different than a photographic memory. Again, proof of photographic memory would be perfect recall of whole pages of books when just spread in front of the person and things like that. That would be photographic memory. If there's any meaning to the word photographic in that analogy at all, and that is the only kind of photographic memory that is interesting to the people who believe you can trace images from your head, which again, I don't think is possible. And I don't think is what people are doing. I think people are doing a conceptual flicker. You know, they're moving back and forth between visual memories and conceptual and touch memories and structural memories and things like that. None of that looks anything like tracing images out of your head. Second to none, number one. Hey Joe, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Joe says, I always have the photographic memory reminding me to like and subscribe on Steven's stream. Thank you, Joe. You see, that's a good mod. That's a loving mod. Pablo says, I agree. If you take a character that you think you know well, but never sketched it before and draw it, it really shows how much you superestimate and how much is there that you never noticed before. Indeed. Indeed, indeed. Lorenzo says, interesting. I've started drawing so that I can develop tools to represent the characters that live in my mind. And certainly those tools are there. You can, I mean, that's what drawing is all about, you know, bringing things that are in your mind to life. But I think it's a conceptual misconstrual to think of that as anything like tracing the images in your head. I just don't think that's how it works for almost anybody. I think that that confuses people. You know, the people who are doing great and who say, you know, oh, I'm tracing images from my head, it's like, that they're not thinking about it because things are going well, right? They're not really thinking about what do they mean by the word trace, right? Tracing means a very particular thing, and that confuses beginners, and I find it frustrating. The process of drawing is a very reactive one, a very design. It's intimately linked with design. You have to problem solve. There's a weird current of people who, not just people, just like assumptions about art. People seem to think that there's some way that they could like, like just see the dragon so clearly that, okay, I see it so clearly, and then I don't even know how to comment on this position because I don't understand what they think is going to happen. You see the dragon so clearly, and what? I don't know. You follow the curves not in a place that you're seeing. Like it doesn't, there's no, it's like, even if you do see the dragon hyper clearly, are you ignoring the fact that it's not like it's not like you're producing the dragon in your head by straining and putting in mental effort. It's like, if you can see it hyper clearly, it's because your physiology is naturally, well, not naturally, I'm not saying it isn't developed, but at that point, your physiology is just capable of holding a mental model of a dragon at that level of fidelity, right? So why do you even need to do that? Just let that mental model manifest through the hand instead of the brain picture. There's so many questions here, and I don't think people are really thinking through what they hope is gonna happen here. And I worry that a lot of people are really just spinning up an excuse to not draw when they grapple with these things. Sarah says, do you remember the first time you accepted you were an artist? I struggle with imposter syndrome. No, I do not. I've been drawing for a really long time. So if it was there, it would probably be far out of memory. And I also I've never taken labels seriously. So if in my childhood I was anything like I am today, even back then, I think my temperament would have been like, I'm an artist if I say I'm an artist. I don't think I ever would have struggled with that, you know? In character design mentorship, my mentor seems to really like my initial character designs when I sketch them, but once I start finalizing the character, he tells me that I lost the energy. I don't know why. I mean, that's a very common thing, and it's a hard thing to overcome. I think that that's something people fight with for their entire careers, really. Sketches are just, by their nature, they're always going to have a sort of flowing pizzazz that it's much harder to capture in the final. It scales differently. Whoop, my lighting's all off because I turned on my backlight. Let me change this. What light do I want to? Hold on, I gotta think which light puts less glare on my monitor. Jerry says, yeah, Patrick Jones said it's good to have your art heroes, but you have to also demystify them. Even as good as Kim Jong-gi is, he literally broke everything down he saw into simple forms. Yeah, indeed. I mean, the way he talks about his own art, like the demos that he's done and stuff like that, it goes to show that he's not doing some sort of photographic mental trace, right? He's constantly talking about how he conceptualizes perspective, so. On the philosophy side of art, why do humans create art? I mean, when it comes down to it, what is the evolutionary purpose? I haven't come up with an answer yet. When you do, let us know. When you do, let us know, and let the rest of the world know, because you will be one of the most important academics of art to ever live. Well, I will keep thinking about it and working on it. Maybe it'll just be 42. Maybe. It's the answer to everything else, so. The giant looks hungry. I would give him Swedish meatballs. He's so hungry. He's so hungry. He's just so hungry. That's why he's gazing over the town folks. Well, you know, eldritch beasts need to eat something. An eldritch beast gotta eat too, am I right, my boy? Son, when an acolyte and an eldritch beast love each other very much. Faded Ink says, I appreciate seeing your slow pace. It sometimes gets frustrating seeing some designers finish a full piece within 2 hours when mine can last days. Things take as long as they need to. Things take as long as they need to. I have more fun going slow than I do going fast, too. The kinds of shapes that I like to make, they come out nicer if I go slower as I go. So that makes the whole process more enjoyable if I go slow, because I'm putting down nicer things moment to moment instead of leaving a bunch of stuff that I'll need to correct later. Battle Hughes says, just came back from a 30-minute walk in the park. Incredible progress. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I feel like I just made a lot of progress on it very suddenly just now because chat quieted down, so I just got to keep my head down and do a bunch of painting on it real quick. That's one of the benefits of an art stream. It's like on a lot of other kinds of streams, if chat goes silent, you might be like, shit, what do I do now? But if you do an art stream when chat goes silent, you're like, okay, now I can get some work done. Time to get some work done. Definitely one of the benefits of an art stream. Jerry LaCour immediately says, not so fast, I have a question. JK. Hey, Soko. Late nights. Oh, it's late night with Stevie Z. Late night. Steven at night. Steven at night. Sketching Stevens are ready to take your call. Stevens with pencils in their hands are waiting by the phones right now. I love the fascia, says Soko. Oh yes, the delicious fascia. We all love a good fascia. It's 2:37 in Sweden. I'm living up to my name again, but it's so chill to watch you draw. Late night for Eye Nocturne too. Up all night. Hello, Daryl. Hello, Fabricio. Nathan Sanchez, hello. Who says, been a while since I caught one of your streams? Well, you're here today. You made it. Jerry says, I'm doing a Final Fantasy VIII drawing right now, and the amount of AI that came up when I started looking for reference is crazy. Yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah. Angel says, I hate when I'm searching for a specific artist and all that shows up on Google are AI generations of that artist's style. Awful. Yeah, that's not a good feeling. That ain't it, Chief. Hey, Steven, do you still hold Nightshade streams? I haven't done one since Nightshade All Night, but it's not out of the question. I'm just taking a break from AI things right now. I was putting too much on my plate with that. Well, not too much. I was doing what needed to be done, but I hit the point where I was like, oh shit. I gotta hit all the deadlines I'd set for myself. Because it was taking up a lot of time. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes for the AI stuff that I was doing. And yeah, I got behind on the next course that I wanted to make. I got behind on this project. Well, the project I've been doing on stream with my friend Joe. And a whole bunch of other like life and financial goals and things like that. And I was just like, all right, we just need to take a little break here. I like your playlist. What is it called? This is the Divinity Original Sin 2 soundtrack. Will I get banned for saying I clicked because I thought it was Attack on Titan art? No, you won't get banned for that. I guess that means that YouTube is showing people a shot of what's actually in the stream instead of the thumbnail that I have set. Wonder if I should change. Let me update the thumbnail real quick because it's a painting from last stream. It's not this one. Let's do this fixed ratio. Just grab a quick pick one of these. Look at this. If you hover over the thumbnail, I'll show you part of the stream. Yeah. Yeah, I should have remembered that. But I need to change the thumbnail anyway, because I thought I would poke at that painting in this thumbnail, but in this stream, but I didn't wind up doing it. So I should update the thumbnail while I'm here. Lorenzo says, Steven, I've been having a hard time doing my own art projects because of art school projects. When I have free time, I usually end up drawing for fun. Do you think that's a kind of procrastination? I mean, not really. I mean, you've got to do if you're in school, you got to, be in school. Don't be too hard on yourself. And we all need rest. If you're resting by drawing playfully, I mean, that's great. That's more than a lot of people can ask for, so. I don't think there's any issue with that. Ooh, it's almost 9 p.m. here in New York, which is actually pretty close to my bedtime. I go to bed pretty early. So I may be getting off here soon, folks. But let's keep going a little longer. Do you plan on streaming tomorrow also? Yes. Yes, it's true. The stream for tomorrow, it's also digital. I don't know. I usually don't pick until right before stream starts. I just go with whatever feels right at the moment. I wish I had Steven's amount of confidence regarding my art. You know, no one's ever going to bestow you confidence. You can only give it to yourself. Remember, you don't need confidence in your art. The art's just fine. You just need to have confidence in yourself. And at least for me, confidence really is just, confidence is just a product of compassion for oneself. You know, when you deeply, compassionately, truly accept that you are going to make mistakes and that you are deeply, deeply human. That you're going to forgive yourself time after time after time, because it's what you'd do for a good friend. Why not extend to yourself the same? Compassion grows, and it sure looks a lot like confidence. I was just wondering because I didn't saw much digital streams of yours. Yeah, they're pretty, well, I don't know about evenly, but they're pretty well split on, if you go back into the live streams on the channel. There's a lot of digital and a lot of traditional. Stuff like scenes like this, I always prefer to sketch this stuff digital. It would take me a really long time to... Let's see, how long have I been streaming? About 2 hours and 50 minutes. I would still be laying this in if it was traditional. Do you use many layers in digital or just a few? This one, for example, has what, less than 10? It depends on the scene. I do find a lot of layers frustrating. I tend to get lost in managing them. So often to my detriment, I find myself merging them and stuff like that all the time. Steven, have you done any art residencies? No, I have not. Sounds interesting though. I've heard of a few that I was like, maybe, but it's just never been a part of my life. Have you done one, Shady? Good Vibe says, hey Steven, do you play any instruments? If so, what instrument? Sometimes it is good to relive your mind's creativity by doing something different and learning something entirely new. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, but no, I don't play any instruments. I've never really needed to, on account of my world-class singing voice. Let us never forget that I have the genetics of a 9-year-old girl singing Ave Maria at a funeral. Naturally gifted. It's just fun to watch the piece transform in all sorts of weird ways while you play around with the gradient map. Man, that's really losing a ton of info, but it kind of feels right for the piece, doesn't it? Just like it being that crushed. It kind of has like the filmic feel of like how, you know, on like a cinema camera that's all grainy and noisy, if you were trying to shoot something just like by raw flame light, you would just get no detail, not enough separation. It's like one of those episodes of Game of Thrones that people complain about. It's too goddamn dark, I can't see anything. Yeah, can I see it? Are you a video game enjoyer, Steven? Mm-hmm. I haven't been making much time to enjoy them lately, but I do enjoy them. Last things I played were, I played a bit of Baldur's Gate 3. Didn't even leave Act 1. And what else? Played a lot of Elden Ring. But that was a while ago. Though I was playing it again recently because I was making a new character for in anticipation of the DLC. What the? Can't say I hate it. I love weird stuff like that. I love stuff that you just can't make heads or tails of like that. No matter the colors you pick, they all look awesome. Yeah, if you work up the value structure to look good, almost anything will look okay. The question is always like, are the colors actually pushing the mood more? Or is it just different, you know? Because there's an infinite variety of just different, but is it actually making the piece more like what it's supposed to be? I don't know, I kind of like it so crushed. Like I like losing all that information. I'm getting the sort of nighttime disastrous fire effect. Hello, Mental. Is there a drawing software that you have used more than Photoshop for periods of time? Curious if you sometimes prefer free-to-use software over paid ones. I've been using Photoshop since I was like 12, so I've got a long relationship with Photoshop. There's been periods where I've used Procreate more. That's the only one. The free programs like Krita and Fire Alpaca and stuff like that, they're great from what I can tell. People do great work in them. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I'm just in this awful love-hate relationship with Photoshop just because I'm so deeply habituated to it. Damn, that looks cool too. Bleach bypass? Crap. Damn, bleach bypass looks kind of dope. Just like, it's basically anti-color, but some of the stuff it's doing to like the arm over there on the left, it's kind of make the arm look like really subtle, kind of nicely filmically rendered. Too much. Candlelight's too much. But bleach bypass, not bad. Drop blues is not bad. Not bad drop blues, not bad drop blues. Okay, okay drop blues. Fall color is not bad either, kind of cool. Ooh, that looks freaky. Film stock. That's too much though. That's the edge, that's where it's too much because I'm looking at it in the tiny thumbnail in my OBS feed and it does not read. You can't read a thing. It goes beyond mood and it's just like, it breaks the picture. That's odd. It's getting red into the darkest shadows. That's nice. Teal orange is too dark. Ooh, tension green is not bad. Tension green is kind of cool, huh? Autumn Rose says, is it too late for me to be here? I don't think so. Hello, nobody on internet. Everyone always sounds like Photoshop is the situationship they can't escape. It sucks. It sucks, man. It's because Photoshop, because it's been around forever and it's for photo editing, it's like it can do absolutely everything. So that's why we get addicted, because you never need to leave, right? It's just the burden of legacy code. I mean, it's just so, it runs like crap, even on great computers. It's crashing constantly, new bugs, every update. Destroys all your, every update, they're like, all your extensions, you can't use them no more. We're on our 18th proprietary extension format that we want to try out. Oh yeah, and there's generative AI in it now, so that you don't have to fucking work. Dang, why do I like bleach bypass so much? There's just the gradient map. There's bleach bypass. There's something about the bleach bypass. I don't know why. I just hate color so much. I'm just like, get it away from me. I'm like getting excited about color lookup, removing more color. I'm like, yeah, closer to the black and white I started with, yeah. Gradient maps get so crazy because it's like, you map it. I don't even know how to use gradient maps. I just click and mess around until I see something cool. And then it's like, as if that's not enough, it's like, then you can do the opacity on the gradient map itself. Just kind of dial in exactly how much you want of that. I think it looks, especially if I'm gonna do the bleach bypass, I think it looks good, pretty low opacity. Now the bleach bypass looks less good over the low opacity gradient map. Maybe it needs more colors to work with the bleach bypass, so maybe I leave the gradient map at full opacity. And the bleach bypass, that I put down to like 50. That's not bad. That's honestly not bad. kind of like it. Kind of like it all weird and messed up like that. Let's see if I want to group anything differently. Maybe make him a little red. Oh no, that doesn't work because I'm under the color lookups then. Yeah. That's a problem. This would just be to break up the fact that the color lookup affects the whole picture equally, which kind of loses the natural, you know. One of the main things color does is break up materials and surfaces, so could try to reassign, just slant some important things one way or the other so that they still feel a little different. Let's see if we do orange, purple. That's weird. Blue. Green. That's bad. You can't do that. You can't do that. Yeah, no, that's working for me. At least not as soft light. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. That can't be it. He can't be a big green guy like that. It's like a horror version of Jim Carrey's The Mask. You know, it's all gone horribly wrong. What up? How you doing? Good. Just working away. If I take this selection, I'm gonna stop messing with this in a second. But maybe a selective color. Sorry I'm behind on chat, everybody. I got distracted doing my layers here. Chady's doing an art residency in France. That's awesome. That is so cool. In France, they give you money and space and time to develop your idea in another country. I recommend. I gotta get hooked up on that. Hulk, but he's cutting, yeah. Oh, my eyes are getting... I'm gonna have to wrap this soon, guys. My eyes are starting to defocus a lot here at the end of the day. You know, all that stuff they say, you gotta cut the blue light before bed. It's damn near bedtime. I go to bed at 9:30 p.m. a lot of nights. It's 9:20 over here in New York right now. Let's just see neutrals. Let's see what happens if we cast him. The red, not too much, because the firelight is like orange. Blue or magenta. No, none of this is satisfactory. I would need to go on a hard light layer and sort of like paint in a bunch of variations, and I don't want to do that right now. So maybe we'll save that for if we bring this guy up on stream again and poke at him. Sometimes you gotta poke. That picture truly went weird there with those final color choices, but the value mock-up was fun to do. I like that though, it got very filmic feeling with all the crushing and compression and all that. Let's see if we do... Bring that up a touch in value, because I work on, you know, if you work on good quality screens, which you probably do because you're an artist, it's usually a good idea to, you know, most screens are dimmer, not as good, lower contrast ratio, so it's usually a good idea at the end to just make it a little brighter overall. That tends to look better on consumer level, just more average screens. And I forget how it started. Was it flipped this way or the other way? I forget how I drew it. I think it was not that. I think I remember the hand being over here, the hand coming towards us over here on the right. All right, let's call it there. Let me redo the thumbnail because I'd have to do it after stream anyway. So while I say goodbye, and if anybody wants to ask any last questions, I'll just update the thumbnail for this yet again. So I can just go straight to bed instead of having to do it once I sign off. Yeah, let's do it like that. Cutting off his elbow should make him feel a little bigger. It's epic! All right, 1920. And that was fun. I know this happens to me every time I'm on stream, right? I say I'm gonna do a bunch of sketches, and then I just did the very first thing that I started, just like, whatever, just finish it. Just to, or, you know, just work on it way longer. I don't wind up doing the multiple for some reason. It's a decent mood piece for only 3 hours of work. And I do like some of the design stuff I arrived at for the head, actually. I didn't really do much design stuff on, like, I didn't do any design work on the buildings or much of the body. I poked at the body for a little bit, but the head I don't hate. Actually, some of the form choices I made there, like that part splitting, the weird grown over eyes, this sharp part cutting through all these different anatomical parts that shouldn't be cut through. I like that. There's some interesting things there for me. Thumbnails today is Coolio. Goodbye, Lorenzo. Thank you, Wes. You're very sweet. Stephen, how do we know we can trust you? You don't know you can trust me. You must listen to my words and make up your mind yourself. Stephen has a grandpa sleep schedule. Real Gen Z chads like us sleep at 5 a.m. I know what you mean. I do. I have a real grandpa mode on my sleep. I used to be a night owl, but my wife changed me. She slowly dragged me into being a morning person. I like being in bed 9:30, waking up at 5:30. Yeah, I like being up early. No problem, Boxwing. Happy to provide streams. Come, traveler. I bear fine streams from the most distant webs. Ah, yes, an art stream. Well, lucky for you, I have one of the finest art streams available right here. Yes, a Stephen Zapata stream. Oh, quite luxurious, very rare, and extremely educational. In fact, some would say the things that he teaches on the stream are irrelevant and have nothing to do with art. That's how rare they are. Whoops, I moved my screen. There we go. I feel attacked. My computer and tablet are basically a pile of Legos. You could do a lot with a pile of Legos. Thank you, Chady. You're very kind. Steven needs to take his melatonin. My wife says melatonin's way too strong. I used to think she was doing it as a bit to piss me off. Now I think she really believes it. She's like, my wife will tell you straight up that melatonin is stronger than Xanax. She's like, I got hangovers, melatonin hangovers. Head looks cool. Thank you, iNocturne. Ever considered hyping your comic book project by working on it on stream? Oh yeah, that'll happen. I don't have any other option. For that kind of thing, I need the streaming time to work on a project that big. That will happen. I've done some of the design work and some rendering and stuff for it on stream, but I haven't been able to do much of it on stream so far because, you know, you're doing design work. If you're trying to push it, if you're trying to do your best, it's really hard to do that without your full attention. You know, design's really tough. But yeah, that will happen. Aladdin opening scene. Yeah. It makes Julian fries. 'Cause I come from a land in a faraway place where the caravan camels roam. I wish I knew all the words to that. I could really go for lullabying myself with that right now. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. ride on a carpet and fly to another Arabian night. All right, everybody. I think we're all good here, right? By the way, do my messages appear in top chat? Sometimes I feel like YouTube hides my messages. I'm seeing it right now. I'm seeing your messages right now. I'm seeing them right now. MF says the art side is a pathway to many abilities some consider unnatural. Is it possible to learn this power? All right, everybody. Have a good night. And I plan on streaming tomorrow, so I will see you all tomorrow if you are around. And I don't know what we're doing. I always just pick when I'm in the middle of it. I didn't know I was going to do this tonight. Screw it. All right, everybody. Have a very good night. Goodbye to I Nocturne, MF, Daryl Grant, Friendly Neighborhood Artist, Boxerwing 1970, I already said goodbye to Friendly Neighborhood Artist. But I'll say goodbye to Jerry LaCour Art, and Wes, and Autumn Rose, and Chris Maycock, and Shady on Fire, and Mohsin Nakvi, and all the others who have been here. Good night, everybody. I will see you all soon. You get the course. Check out the Patreon. I think that's everything. Bye, everyone.